Okay. Grades must be fixed by 2 nights. Remember, I'll be here at lunch and I'll be here after school. 16 and 17 syllabus statements. You guys were unhappy with those grades. Those are getting regraded 2 nights. Do your work. If you haven't done your work or you haven't fixed it, make sure, like, let's all just go on there one more time, see if there's anything we can do to make it better. I would say at this point, if somebody still hasn't done their work, we should just do it. Okay. And they might lose points, but it's their fault because they didn't do it for this long, right? So maybe somebody just steps up to the plate, gets it done, makes it look nice, and we move on. We're going to continue with notes. And I also have an activity with a video that we need to do today. Remember, your personal engagement should be turned in, and we talked about data analysis yesterday. You should have a materials box on your table. All right. First person I call on will be answering the question. What was the selective pressure for the bacteria that became resistant? What was the selective pressure? Oh, that person's not here anymore. Sander. Antibiotic. Josie. Oh, you weren't here yesterday, so I will give you a break. Lucas, do you agree that the antibiotic was the selective pressure for the bacteria? Yes, very good. And what was the concentration in the bacteria species? Giselle? Yes. So the variation, anger when you guys are talking over me. The variation was whether the bacteria was susceptible to the antibiotic or not. That was the variation. Okay, or resistant. You can say it either way. All right. You have a new gift. This is the horse, evolution of a horse. You watch him turn into a horse. Let's watch it one more time. Yeah. So we started in the water, then we came onto the land, then we turned into lizards, small mammals, larger mammals. Evolution, evolution, evolution. Okay. Today, would you rather have a rewind button or a fast forward button in your life? Would you rather rewind your life or fast forward your life?
Okay, when you fast forward, you go back to the present.
No, I think it's like I'm gonna say it's a permanent. It's a permanent, you get to press the button once and then you land where you land. One button press.
Oh, wait, do you know what you know from the present?
Yeah. All right, we are on page 11, yes? Yes. Missing pages?
Or you just see like some white. You know I didn't drop out.
Alrighty. That's the last page, yes? Yes. Doom Eternal? Yeah. I've watched my husband play it. I'm too much of a chicken to play that one. I like to watch it like a movie, and he gets in trouble if he plays it without me, because then I miss the story. I watch it for the plot. And sometimes he'll press the button to skip the cutscene, and I get so mad. I'm like intensively watching it, and then he gets bored. He presses skip, and I give him the evil eye, and he's like, sorry. And then he tries to say it was accidental. Did you get it? We've already finished everything. He played it years ago. Wasn't it a remake? Yeah. Anyways, okay, we gotta start. Let's go, let's go. Okay, and we're watching and we're
What if I told
silent.
you there are trillions of tiny bacteria all around you? It's true. Microorganisms called bacteria were some of the first life forms to appear on Earth. Though they consist of only a single cell, their total biomass is greater than that of all plants and animals combined. And they live virtually everywhere, on the ground, in the water, on your kitchen table, on your skin, even inside you. Don't reach for the panic button just yet. Although you have 10 times more bacterial cells inside you than your body has human cells, many of these bacteria are harmless or even beneficial, helping digestion and immunity. But there are a few bad apples that can cause harmful infections, from minor inconveniences to deadly epidemics. Fortunately, there are amazing medicines designed to fight bacterial infections. Synthesized from chemicals or occurring naturally in things like mold, these antibiotics kill or neutralize bacteria by interrupting cell wall synthesis or interfering with vital processes like protein synthesis, all while leaving human cells unharmed. The deployment of antibiotics over the course of the 20th century has rendered many previously dangerous diseases easily treatable. But today, more and more of our antibiotics are becoming less effective. Did something go wrong to make them stop working?
The problem is not with the antibiotics, but the bacteria they were made to fight. And the reason lies in Darwin's theory of natural selection. Just like any other organisms, individual bacteria can undergo random mutations. Many of these mutations are harmful or useless, but every now and then, one comes along that gives its organism an edge in survival. And for a bacterium, a mutation making it resistant to a certain antibiotic gives quite the edge. As the non-resistant bacteria are killed off, which happens especially quickly in antibiotic-rich environments like hospitals, there is more room and resources for the resistant ones to thrive, passing along only the mutated genes that helped them do so. Reproduction isn't the only way to do this. Some can release their DNA upon death to be picked up by other bacteria, while others use a method called conjugation, connecting through pili to share their genes.
This is
Over
one of the
time, the
things.
resistant genes.
I think you guys got a little distracted by the animations there. But it was talking about how the mutations can actually transfer between species. We wrote that in our notes yesterday. Remember that conjugation I mentioned? So that's one of the things that makes this resistance such a big deal, and that it happens so quickly. All right. Don't get distracted by animation, guys.
Proliferate, creating entire strains of resistant superbacteria. So how much time do we have before these superbugs take over? Well, in some bacteria, it's already happened. For instance, some strands of Staphylococcus aureus, which causes everything from skin infections to pneumonia and sepsis, have developed into MRSA, becoming resistant to beta-lactam antibiotics like penicillin, methicillin, and oxacillin. Thanks to a gene that replaces the protein beta-lactams normally target and bind to, MRSA can keep making its cell walls unimpeded. Other superbacteria like Salmonella even sometimes produce enzymes like beta-lactamase that break down antibiotic attackers before they can do any damage. And E. coli, a diverse group of bacteria that contains strains that cause diarrhea and kidney failure, can prevent the function of antibiotics like quinolones by actively booting any invaders that manage to enter the cell. But there is good news. Scientists are working to stay one step ahead of the bacteria. And although development of new antibiotics has slowed in recent years, the World Health Organization has made it a priority to develop novel treatments. Other scientists are investigating alternate solutions, such as phage therapy or using vaccines to prevent infections. Most importantly, curbing the excessive and unnecessary use of antibiotics, such as for minor infections that can resolve on their own, as well as changing medical practice to prevent hospital infections, can have a major impact by keeping more non-resistant bacteria alive as competition for resistant strains. In the war against superbacteria, de-escalation may sometimes work better than an evolutionary arms race.
There's a great video. I don't know if I got to put it in here. Oh yeah. We're not gonna be able to watch it in class, but there's a really cool video by what is it, Kazakhstan or something? We were. No, we did watch it. Or we did. That's okay. We got our notes. We got our notes. Oh yeah, that was the one I was like, you guys should watch that at home. You should watch this one at home too. It's really good. Yes. That would take a very long time, even if it did happen. But anything's possible. Anything's possible. Usually mutations aren't that huge. Like we don't just go from no wings to like, oh, we have wings. They're usually smaller differences that can accumulate to a bigger difference over a long period of time. Really? Huh. Interesting. Yeah. So maybe in another like 500,000 years, maybe they will have wings. Okay. Our next section in our notes. Why has resistance been so rapid? Here's kind of some images, and then we'll write them down. He touched on some of it in the video too. Overprescribing of antibiotics. This happens in hospitals. Some doctors used to do this. I think hopefully they're getting smarter now. Patients not taking antibiotics as prescribed. If you guys ever get antibiotics, you have to take it exactly as they tell you to. Unnecessary antibiotics used in agriculture. We're noticing that the animals don't even have a problem, and the farmers are like, I'm just going to give them antibiotics anyways, just in case. Instead of waiting, I mean, obviously we don't want to wait till they get sick, but you don't want to overuse them either. Poor infection control in hospitals, poor hygiene. Also, with the sanitation, we can over sanitate, right? You've heard of using too much hand sanitizer. It could be bad for you. And also lack of rapid lab tests. Okay, so let's get these written down. Oh, I guess I just wanted you to take it from the video. I mean, there's 6. Yeah, just write those down. Write those down as 1 through 6. Aren't starting it yet, but I'm going to give everybody unit 19 packet, just in case I decide that we have time to get there today. Uh-oh, there's a copy again. Sorry. Well, you're with the people who have a function. It's just that they have also been causing problems. So where am I going? I don't know. I remember my mom telling me, make sure you eat when you take this again. And I was like, not hungry. I don't want to eat. So sick. So sick. I learned my lesson. Yes. depends on if that moves forward right now. It's just a variation. All right, you have that 30 more seconds.
I don't have that.
You don't have that page either? What happens? I understand. Don't freak out. Don't freak out.
There we go.
Was it page 11?
11.
Yeah. They didn't tell me until.
All right, should be coming out on the printer. Some of them are weird, so I'm checking them. Okay, we're moving on. What happens if you don't finish antibiotics? So I have this article. We're gonna skim through it. In a second. All right, what happens if you don't finish antibiotics? So your doctor prescribed you a 10-day course of antibiotics for the nasty case of bronchitis, but you're feeling better after 5 days. Do you still have to keep taking your prescription? Yes. Well, yes and no, but antibiotics are powerful drugs designed to kill bacteria, think strep throat, ear infections, urinary tract infections, among others. But they're no good in the fight against viral illnesses. Taking an antibiotic when you have a virus won't help you, and it could actually do some harm. Taking antibiotics for a cold is one of the things that causes antibiotic resistance. When you do that, all the non-harmful bacteria in your body are exposed to the antibiotic and can adapt or evolve, making it harder for them to be killed by that antibiotic in the future. That said, if you've got a bacterial infection, you probably need an antibiotic to get rid of it. And yes, you need to take every single pill regardless of how quickly you start to feel better. So we already kind of have an idea here that it's, well, actually, no, it's down here. If you have a bacterial infection requiring antibiotic therapy, he or she will consider the organ system affected. Different parts of the body harbor different types of bacteria common to that location. So healthcare providers provide antibiotics that have a good chance of being effective there. So they basically give you a specific antibiotic for the location of your infection. Let's see. What happens if you don't finish? This Dr. Iglafdu says there are 2 reasons why you need to take the full prescribed treatment of antibiotics. This is where we're going to get our information to write. The first is obvious. Your healthcare provider selected the therapy for a reason, and that's to get you healthy again. The second reason, the dreaded antibiotic resistance we mentioned earlier. By completing your course of treatment, you increase the odds of killing all the bacteria responsible for causing your current illness. When you halt treatment early, you allow a small portion of bacteria to remain in your body, and that bacteria has the potential to strengthen, change, and develop resistance. I would take that highlight and summarize that into your notes. It's kind of like leaving the enemy behind, like on your side of things, right? If enemy tries to invade your area and you leave some, they can gain intelligence, they can figure out how to beat you, they can get information, right? And that could make them possibly be a threat in the future. So, yes, get rid of them all. No prisoners of war. Because what could happen, like it was saying before, they have been exposed to the antibiotics so they can become like smart about how to defend against it. That's a less scientific way to think about it, but is essentially what's happening. Yes, Abby. With viruses, we don't even use antibiotics. We might be able to use, like it was saying in the video, vaccines for antibiotics, for bacterial infection prevention, and they were saying phage therapy. A phage is actually a virus, but I'm sure it's modified in a way to where it could possibly help. So it seems from the video that it's possible we might start using viruses to kill bacteria, but antibiotics will not affect the virus. Okay. So are we good? Next thing we just need is how do we prevent it? How can we prevent antibiotic resistance? Yeah, maybe instead of always using an antibacterial, maybe we try to fight it with just our natural immune system. Like if you guys have ever got a cut and it got a little swollen and red, that was an infection. You got an infection. Do we immediately give you antibiotics? No, because your body can handle that, right? Yes. I don't know that we're ever going to be able to get rid of them because new ones come along all the time. Viruses are evolving just like bacteria. Yeah. All right, we got to move on. You guys have access to this. How can we prevent? Use only for serious bacterial infections. We don't want to use them for a minor little cut or scrape. Sometimes our innate immune system can handle the job. Complete the full dose when prescribed, of course. We don't want to leave any stragglers behind to evolve and become resistant. Do our best to prevent cross-infection with resistant strains. This is something that hospitals mainly would need to worry about. Something we can do there is quarantine. There's certain bacterial infections, especially if they're very rare and maybe not from this country, they will quarantine you and you don't get to be around anyone so that you can not spread it to somebody.
I have a story. There is some guy who came to the ER when I was thinking there, and he had flesh-eating bacteria, and you can see his foot. Yeah, what? Like just being eaten apart. And they had him like closed off with plastic, and these guys in like full hazmat sort of suits had to go in there. And the guy was interning there, was like, you stay 20 feet away or I'll get in trouble.
Yeah. That's scary. Or you'll get flesh-eating bacteria. That's so scary. Yeah, and that is something he most likely, he said he came from another country. Yeah, most likely the flesh-eating bacteria is somebody who traveled somewhere and brought it back. So that's why we want to quarantine, because that could be spread very easily. I know they've had many episodes on like Grey's Anatomy and stuff.
Or something. I don't know. There's but this was on Grey's Anatomy, and it was like this whole thing, and they're like, ah.
Doctors aren't as dramatic as you see in Grey's Anatomy.
I know.
More like,
But a lot of their the illnesses are based on real situations.
they're just not as dramatic. Or as
So the blood's doing what? Because the blood is infected? Yeah. Probably. I don't know if that's
like bacterial.
probably viral. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a specific thing. There probably is. Yes. It kind of depends. There's really bad of both virus and bacterial. There's certain viruses that we can't cure, like HIV, we're definitely getting a lot closer. But there's certain viruses we can't get rid of at this point. And But there's also viruses like if you get the regular flu, not COVID, but if you just get like a cold, that's a virus, but it's not really that big of a deal. And that could be a less of a big deal than getting meningitis or bronchitis. Those could have like long lasting effects. So it just kind of depends on the case of which one. Yes. Yeah, yeah. When people were conquering lands, yeah, they brought diseases with them all the time. Yes. I like Scrubs. I was sad that it's over. Okay, are we done with unit 18 notes? Yes, we are, except I have to go back to one spot for our activity. You will actually need a whiteboard marker, not a whiteboard, but back there, you see the little baggies? Grab a baggie for your table. Go get a baggie for your table. Whoa. No, you need to use it to study for a test. I'll hold it anyway. And I do need the lights on as well, please. Lights, somebody, lights. Thank you, Kalia. All right, let's put those notes away right now. If they're not done, I know it's okay in some cases for you to copy from a friend, but not right now. And now we are doing something. Okay. What I'm going to be giving you is a collection of some images in a sleeve. Okay. So, on the screen, I don't. So what you'll see is you'll see 4 different locations. Okay. I'm gonna hold up 2 of them. So notice that for each picture, I should be up here. You're gonna have location A and location B. This is 2 different locations. Okay, and then you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, in the top left corner, you'll see 1, 2, 3, and 4. So these are different pictures. See how they're different, right? What I want you to do, first of all, there's a spot at the top. You're going to count for each location how many white mice and how many dark mice. It's very similar to the moth idea. Okay, white mice, dark mice. So that's the first step. And it tells you at the top, it says number of mice with light colored fur. And then you can put a little number there, okay, with your whiteboard marker. The next step after you count is I want you to sequence these. Okay, these go in a certain timeline. So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. That is not the correct order. Okay, so you need to figure out in terms of time, which of these pictures came first. Okay, let's say the first picture was taken at 10 years ago. And then the next picture was taken 5 years ago. Okay, so you want to look at them based on your numbers and what's happening. You're going to see a change in allele frequency. So based on that, you want to go, which picture came first? Does that make sense to you? Sure. And then I'll come around and you'll give me an answer. It'll be like, it's number 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, for example. But it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's another combination. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So we're just going to do 1 set per table. There is a 1, 2, 3, 4. Send somebody up to come grab these, please. They're given to you in no particular order. Shuffle, shuffle. Knows what order they're being given to you in. have each person count how many of each you're seeing.
That's what I did.
The eruption spewed a river of lava more than 40 miles long
So this is
across the
talking about
desert.
the environmental change, the lava flow.
As the molten rock cooled, it darkened, leaving any creature dependent upon camouflage in serious trouble. In the complex battle of life, one of the constant struggles is between seeing and not being seen, the evolutionary game of hide and seek. And we've come here to the Valley of Fire in New Mexico, a battlefield, to find one of the tiniest soldiers and what it can teach us about how evolution works. On the desert sands, the rock pocket mouse blends in perfectly, its light-colored fur concealing it from predators. But on dark lava, the same fur makes the mouse stand out, attracting the many creatures that see it as food.
These mice are the Snickers bar of the desert. They're eaten by foxes and coyotes and rattlesnakes and certainly by owls and maybe even occasionally hawks. And most of those predators are visual predators.
So what happened to the pocket mice that found themselves on this new terrain? When I accompany biologist Michael Nachman onto the lava, it doesn't take long to find out.
Oh, this one's closed.
Nachman has been collecting mice unharmed in traps. And it's a dark one.
It is, yeah.
Now, are most of the ones you find up here dark?
Almost all of them.
Not only have the mice here evolved to be as dark as the rock,
Shake them into the bag.
the color change has occurred precisely where it will conceal them from hunters. Now, a bit of a white underbelly, too.
That's right. All of the dark ones here and on other lava flows have a white underbelly, and presumably there's no selection for dark on the belly because predators are coming from
Just on the-
above.
Left to themselves, the mice show no preference for light or dark rocks. It's the predators that have made the difference.
The change in color over evolutionary time in the population is driven by predators weeding out the mice that don't match their background.
But how did the dark mice arise in the first place?
When a black mouse appears in a light population of mice, that is usually going to be due to a new mutation. And those are random and rare events.
To fully understand the pocket mouse transformation, Nachman moves from the lava to the lab. He and his team extract DNA from light and dark mice taken from one desert region. The aim? To find one or more genetic mutations that cause dark coloration. A mutation is a change in the chemical letters that make up our genes. It's a copying error that may occur when our cells divide. Mutation seems to mean that something bad has happened. Well, mutations are neither good or bad. Whether they are favored or whether they are rejected or whether they're just neutral depends upon the conditions an organism finds itself. So for the pocket mouse, a mutation that caused the mouse to turn black, that is good if you're living on black rock. It's bad if you're living out in the sandy desert.
Okay, where are we at? 428. Remember, I'm here at lunch, but if you're gonna eat, you need to go eat first. They don't have to. If anything, maybe 8 for teacher, but that might be too high level for them. Oh, why? That is cute. I do like it. You too. Oh, also Orlando updated his exploration list. I did. Well, we'll definitely get it in there before we put Triumvirate.
Hopefully it brings it up. It's low. No, wait. Unless it gets worse.
No, it won't.